Have you ever noticed that the most dangerous person in the room is the silent one? Not the loud one, not the angry one, but the calm one, the one who can't be provoked. Welcome, stranger of power. Today we begin not with greetings, but with power. Imagine a toxic person trying to humiliate you and failing. Not because you argued your point better, not because you shouted louder, but because you deprived them of what they feed on, your reaction. Rule number 1, control the response, control the battlefield. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius taught that you can't force others to speak, but you can decide whether their words reach your consciousness. Disrespect only works if it hits the mark. The moment you pause, take a breath, and choose silence over impulse, you shift the balance. Toxic people test boundaries. They look for cracks in your calm. When they don't find them, they retreat. Your calm isn't weakness, it's strategy. Master it once, and their power will disappear. And when their usual tactics fail, turmoil begins to build within them, because they expect resistance, emotion, and visible irritation, and you offer nothing. This leads us directly to the second rule. Emotional detachment is silent dominance, not coldness, not indifference, but a disciplined inner distance. A Stoic understands that toxic behavior is a reflection of the other person's chaos, not an order to be obeyed. So, instead of accepting insults, you perceive them as passing noise. You don't protect your ego, and you don't rush to justify yourself, because justification is often the door to manipulation. Toxic people thrive on emotional negotiations. They press, provoke, and repeat patterns until you react. But as soon as you stop providing emotional nourishment, their script collapses, and something subtle happens. Your presence becomes heavier, quieter, almost untouchable. You're no longer easily provoked, no longer easily controlled, and no longer of interest to those who seek drama. That's why Stoic discipline is more feared than anger. Anger can be provoked, but silence with awareness cannot. And once they realize you being emotionally insensitive to their negativity, they lose direction and force in their displays of disrespect. And if they try again and again to reinitiate this line, testing your patience, your silence, and your boundaries, you don't descend into emotional arguments or catastrophes. Instead, you require the invisible wall of their rules, because rule number 3 goes deeper. Inconsistency at boundaries brings even more disrespect, and challenging people are highly sensitive to the opposite consistency. They observe when you say no, but still tolerate it, when you remain silent, but still remain available. And this contradictory signal gives them confidence to continue. But the Stoic mind works differently. It doesn't declare an open boundary. It lives by them quietly. You respond less, you engage less, you invest less emotional energy. And this gradual retreat isn't a place. It's self-respect in action. Over time, they begin to learn the change in your structure, the calm solidity that cannot be changed. And that is when the dynamic completely changes. Because once people realize that access to your pattern is no longer guaranteed, their behavior either increases or they gradually disappear from your space. And in the lower cases, you win without conflict. From this moment on, something powerful happens within you. A shift from reacting to observing, from defending to dominating. And this reveals the 4th rule. Become unpredictable in your reactions, but stable in your character. Because toxic people rely on predictable emotional patterns.
They expect you to take offense, argue, explain, or prove your worth. However, when your reactions become calm, measured, and minimal, their psychological impact weakens. A Stoic doesn't display emotions for others. They manage them internally. And this internal control creates an aura of quiet power. You are no longer easily understood, easily provoked, and no longer emotionally accessible to manipulation, while your values remain consistent and your reactions become purposeful rather than impulsive. This contrast confuses those who seek control through emotional pressure. Over time, they realize that disrespect brings no reward, no drama, no visible effect. And in this realization, their behavior loses meaning. Because manipulation without reaction is like a fire without oxygen. It cannot grow, it cannot spread, and eventually dies on its own. Now you see the Stoic truth. One disciplined attitude can silence 1,000 acts of disrespect. Control your reactions, detach emotionally, set clear boundaries, and remain calm and unpredictable. Toxic people lose their power the moment they lose access to your mind. Watch this video again to let these rules sink in. And if it reinforces your point, be sure to like and come back whenever you need clarity.